Hi, my name is Jonas and bringing you another Unreal Engine tutorial, continuing the work with interacting with stuff. So last time we made this little or actually this is a multi-trace line. It should have been a normal line trace, but let's just scratch this for now and start working with the items or the blueprint that we want to interact with. So I made a folder up here called Interactables, and right now it just has a material which we will not go into detail with in this video, but return to later on. So first off, let's just create a blueprint class based off an actor and call this an interactable. And this blueprint is going to serve as the base class for everything that we want to be able to interact with. And if we open this up, we have this default screen root, and we want to actually we want to make a static mesh for this. So this is going to be the visual representation of the item that we want to interact with. So static mesh here, and I actually want this to be my root. So away with the default scene root. And on top of this, I also want something to tell that, okay, I'm coming inside this interaction, the reach of this object. So if we remember from the last session, we had these green lines. So if I come inside the green line, I want to be signify that I'm able to interact with this item. So for this, I'm going to act something called a collision sphere, like this, and let's call this the interact sphere. Okay. Let's see, what else do we need? I think that's all we need for now. Yeah. So this is the base of our interactable. So on the event graph, let's just remove all this basic stuff. We want to say whenever this something enters the actually you can do something else. We can say on component begin overlap, and we can click this one again, or this one, and say all the way down. Say on component end overlap. We want to use these two actually. So whenever something steps into this collision sphere, we want to do something about it. So the other actor is going to be in this situation our player, and we want to tell our player that we can interact with this. So in order to tell this to our player, we can do something like we can do a cast, for example, as base. I think it's called base character blueprint right now, and then we can make a function here over on the character blueprint. So let's make that first. So we want to make a new function. It's down here, and call this register interactable, and this function is going to take a parameter called an interactable, and it's going to be of the type interactable reference, like this. So we want to make a list of items or interactables that we can interact with on our player. This is generally what we are going to do now. And also similar, we want to make something for when we don't overlap with our character anymore. So when he moves out of reach of the object, he will not be able to know that he can interact with this. So we need a similar function here called unregister interactable, and it's also going to tell which interactable is not anymore available. Alright, so with this setup we can start to call these two functions, and we can drag this one off, and say register interactable, this one. So let's take a little, let's see, this is ourself. We want to pass on to this. So now we are telling our player that we are registered and within reach. But one thing that's kind of bugging me right now is that we have this cast to base character blueprint and kind of needs to know which type of this is, because could be that it was maybe some other type of actor we wanted to do something else. So this is where I want to take a little break and introduce an interface for this. I think this is going to be really nice to have later on. So right click and say blueprint now. What is it? Blueprints and blueprint interface. Yeah, let's see. We call it interactable. This is a good name. So let's take these two names that we have. So anything, what we are doing inside the interface is basically just saying that we want to have a contract between a base character blueprint and an interactable, something that we can interact with, saying that these two can tell each other stuff. So these two functions we just made, the register interactable and unregister, we want to make them inside the interface. So let's take this new function here and call this register interactable, and as before we want to take this parameter and interactable into what here, okay, like this. And similarly we want to make a new function for unregister interactable and new variable like this. So now we have this this blueprint, this interface, sorry. I'll compile, save, and we need to tell make sure that our interactable is using this interface. So I'm gonna add this one, and it's already down here, interactable. I'm gonna add this one so it shows up here. And I also want to make this interface, or use this interface on my character. So add interface interactable like this, right? No. Oh, we have a function already, so I need to remove this one. Sorry, my bad. Delete. Register interactable. Delete. Otherwise, it can't, because it has a duplicate name somewhere in the interface. Yes. All right. So now we can actually get rid of this cast in between, and this holds true for all of these places where you see people often making these casts to my blueprint. It started to annoy me that I had to kind of bind everything tightly together with types. So yeah, now we can do something else. We can also remove this one, and then from our other actor, now drag out instead and say register interactable. And now it says under interactable, we can choose register a message, or we can unregister a message. So we're basically going to make a call, a message call to whoever is implementing this register interactable. And as before, we want to of course pass on ourselves, so our character knows who it's gonna register. And we're gonna do something similar down here. Unregister like this, interactable, message, self, drag, plugin like this. So with that out of the way, let's see if we can take a look at what we want to do when we register something. Sorry. We have a little interact event handler down here. It's not doing anything right now, but we want to change that. So first of all, we need to do something else. Actually, we need to implement these two functions that we are calling from the interactable. So inside the functions, we are not gonna make a new function like that. Sorry, delete, get away. We are gonna do something else. We're gonna go to the blueprint here, the event graph, and right click and say event register, like this. Click. So now we have are using this event. So whenever our interactable calls this one will be kind of called. So let's do something so we don't end up having all kinds of stuff outside here. It's going to be a mess eventually. So let's do like we did with the camera zoom. Let's make a little neat function for this. So it's just going to be something we'll do quite often. So let's make this, and this call this time do register interactable, and add the same type here. This, and while we're at it, let's also add the other one. No, let's not. Let's first drag this one out and call it, and pass on the parameter like this, and event on register interactable. Okay, and we need to make this function is do on interactable, add new variable interactable, like this. Okay, event graph, hook this one up. There we go. So right now these functions, they don't do anything, but as I mentioned earlier on, we want these two to maintain an array of interactables that we can interact with. And let's take a look at this as the next thing. Alright, go into this one, and no, actually one thing we want to do first, we want to make this array that I keep talking about. So let's get that out of the way. So we're going to make a list called an array called interactables. So this is going to be a list of array, I keep saying list, sorry, of interactable of the type array. So we are going to have an array because, as mentioned, we can have several items that we can interact with, and afterwards we want to find out which one we will actually interact with, which is the best suited, best interactable, yeah, kind of. Yes, you get it. So inside this one, let's quickly see if we can work our way through this and then take a break. So first of all, we're going to drag a reference to this this array in, and we want to take this and add as a unique, like this, and like this, and like this. All right, and that's basically what we need to do inside here to register that we have an interactable. So in the unregistered interactable, we kind of need to do the same, just need to remove it. So we drag in the list, the array again, and we call remove item, and we hook this one up, and we hook this one up. So that's actually a pretty good start, because we can continue working with this now, granted that it did work. And I think I have this funny error again, which I had earlier on. Need to remove these and add them again. this one, do unregister. Actually, you don't need to see this, you can just scroll on to the next video. So, because I think I'm going to take a break here and continue with the implementation, while we'll see if we can find which one is the best suited interactable. So, yes, that's it for this video, and we'll continue in the next one. So, bye bye.